Hello and welcome to Back Page Pass Game Week 30. We're going to look back at Game Week 30 in the Premier League and look ahead to international games. I'm John O'Donnell. I've been joined by Mark Corcoran.
They can't see you pointing, John.
I know, but I'm pointing at you so that you know that you're you.
Oh, I know I'm me.
Okay.
I forgot once.
I'll tell you who you're not. You're not Luke and you're not Owen.
No.
You're better.
Just ungrateful. The ungratefulness stifles me.
I mean, I miss Luke. I'm starting to forget what he looks like. He was like a core element in this, but now I just feel like, I don't know.
Over there, thinking he's the big cheese in Sligo.
Sligo.
Do they even have cheese in Sligo?
It's easy to be big cheese in Sligo. I mean, we're cheeses in Dublin. Not big cheeses, just, there's a lot of more cheese around here.
Cheese.
So anyway, let's just crack on with the football. We're done with cheese. Everton 2, Man City 0. Mancini tried his 3-4-3 malarkey, so that Zabaleta and Milner, Silva would all be wide on the same side where Pienaar and Baines are. They're usually dominate, but it meant that Tevez was that position. B, I'm holding up fingers to the note numbers here, but 2 is B.
Yeah.
Everton had an extra man in centre midfield, and C, they had 3 centre backs wasted on an HB. Discuss. 3
centre backs wasted on an HB. That was, I think, an HB. What is he? He's got an absolutely appalling rate of minutes on the pitch in the last number of years.
And having a good season though for him.
He's having a decent season, but the other key thing about him is his goal scoring rate throughout his career has never been prolific.
No.
So do you need 3 centre backs? Maybe that's why they play 3 at the back rather than playing 4 at the back, because the thinking seemed to be that Everton didn't really have much going on width-wise. Mm-hmm. Although Seamus Coleman had a terrific game.
Mm-hmm.
I think what happened here is City went to kind of be compact defensively, I think, but they just got their tactics all wrong. And it was a big win for Everton coming off a dreadful defeat at Wigan. But at the same time, they did get their tactics wrong, but they were quite unlucky to actually lose the game. Could have got a penalty for the handball, the double handball. So good win for Everton, but there was definitely a bit of luck involved there.
Yeah, the Fellaini one where he threw his arms in front of his face. But not just in front of his face, in front of the half a metre in front of his face.
Yeah, are you thinking about the one in the second half?
Just before the goal.
Yeah, just before the goal, yeah. There was Osman, it hit Osman's hand and went up and hit Fellaini's hand and he gave it free. I don't know, maybe they gave it for the Osman one. I don't think there was ever official reason given for that, but very strange to call a free outside the box. Thought it had to be a penalty.
Pienaar got 2 yellows. So, I mean, the second one was borderline straight red for me.
Yeah, me too. So, and it kind of irritated me that he complained.
Yeah. You've just raked your sons down somebody's calf.
What did you think was going to happen? But referees, that's one of those kind of referee cop-out things that it's easier to give him a yellow. If I give him a straight red, it's kind of controversial if I got it wrong.
He's going off either way.
Yeah. So he should have given them the straight red so he got the appropriate ban, but he's only going to get a 1 match ban now.
Jelovic as well. Good. He's a form striker. He kind of depends on confidence. He could go on a run now. That was a good goal.
He could. And I wonder will he even get started in the team, because he's kind of lost his place. It was a good goal. Took the deflection all right. And looking at Fellaini trying to go on a counter attack, he was kind of like, please, somebody catch up with me. He was desperate to pass the ball. Good finish from Jelovic, but he's kind of been a flop this season. He hasn't really kicked on.
No.
And that's probably one of the reasons why their season really hasn't reached the potential that it could have, because at one stage people were talking about maybe a top 4, whereas they're not really at that now.
Speaking of disappointing seasons, Aston Villa 3, QPR 2. Very congested midfield and not a great game of football.
No, big. A lot of people saying a big defeat for Villa, big defeat for QPR and big win for Villa. Mm-hmm. But I earlier on today I was having a look at the fixtures for both Wigan and Villa. Both teams have quite a few kind of traditional bigger clubs to play, and Villa actually finished the season away in Wigan on the final day of the season. I don't think that neither Reading or QPR are actually out of this.
No, I think maybe Reading.
More so Reading, but well, if it's the same difference of 7 points, so you can't.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the way the teams are set up. QPR have a manager and better players.
Yeah, well, you can't rule anything out. Obviously, Reading don't look in great shape, but QPR have a big game in the next couple of weeks against Wigan. I think they're playing Wigan at home. They can win that. You never know. Wigan obviously have the game in hand. It's at Swansea at home. I think. What about after that game? I think there'll be 2 or 3 fixtures to go. So that could prove a big fixture in the campaign. But I don't even think that win did an awful lot for Villa. Like obviously they're outside the relegation zone, but there's a long way to go. Yeah.
Now let's talk why, man. Why not, man?
Yes, why not? Yes.
Wyman had a great game.
He scored one. He scored the second goal, didn't he? He's actually
another one up.
Yeah, he's actually quite a good player. He's a decent season as well.
If he was in a better team, he'd look proper.
This is his first season with them, isn't it?
No, he was there last year.
He was there last year. Yeah, he's probably got an opportunity because Bent has been kind of left out in the cold. If they go down, and even if they don't, I expect a kind of proportionally bigger club to buy him.
Yeah. Southampton 3, Liverpool 1. Great ball from Ramirez for the first goal, wasn't it?
Did he play that?
Yeah.
I don't think he did.
The top, and then they went to, I think it was Rodriguez who just nodded it back.
Yeah. No. Yeah, fair play to him. The only thing he's done all year, I think. By the time he started justifying those millions. Good win for Southampton.
Yeah. Liverpool couldn't get the ball out of their own half. It wasn't even just the win, it was the performance as well.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of problem with them. They just have so much inconsistency throughout the whole season. You never really know. You never really be too confident about a Liverpool result. The only positive for them, Coutinho scoring, so maybe he kicks on from there. No, but big win for Southampton. But again, they're only 4 points above, so they're right in there in the relegation scrap too.
And we discussed a few weeks ago, I remember saying Southampton, the way to play them is just let them come at you and then hit them on the counter.
Yes.
But Liverpool just tried to play the way Liverpool play, which is, we'll dominate this and we'll play and we'll pass around. And it was no surprise to me that they got beaten.
At the same time, though, Southampton have been threatening to beat big teams all season, and obviously they beat City as well there. It's a difficult place to go, so you shouldn't really underestimate what Southampton can do on their day. Because they had a lead against United earlier on the season, and just came back in the last 3 minutes to win that. So they're a difficult challenge to play them in their ground.
And speaking of a difficult challenge playing away at them, Stoke 0, West Brom 0. Lukaku had just one attempt and it was off target. Is that how you beat West Brom? Or at least not lose to them anyway. Just keep Lukaku out of the game.
He missed the sitter though, didn't he? The ball played in, he put it over the bar.
But that was his only chance.
Yeah, but it's not a great plan though, is it? Let's hope they miss the sitters.
No, if you restrict them to one sitter.
Yeah, well, I don't think even that was the plan because it was a dire game in which Stoke created 0 chances. So, I don't know, I think the Stoke fans are getting quite restless from what I'm hearing.
Oh, God, I hope so.
They want Pulis out.
No, I can't see that, though.
Well, that's from what I'm hearing. I don't think he'll go, but that's the fans are kind of getting a bit forgetful of where they came from, where he took them from. I don't know, but they're obviously not inspiring anybody. If
you dance with the devil, you're going to get bored. Stoke on 34 points. They'll win 2 more games, won't they?
They'll get 6 more draws, won't they?
Yeah.
It's more likely.
We're stuck with them for another year. Swansea 0, Arsenal 2. Swansea were pegged back by Arsenal. That doesn't usually happen with them. And it resulted in 2 late goals. The first from a fullback.
How do you mean they were pegged back?
They usually, they
were pegged back.
They'll be able to. You can't just. Their centre halves can play a bit, so no matter where they are in the pitch, they can work the ball forward. But they just weren't able to get forward against Arsenal. They were just pressing them so high. As Wenger, it just seemed like Wenger had finally sussed them. So they've caused them some trouble this year.
Well, I don't know. When you look at the scores, first goal, the left back, that wasn't the team plan. I'm sorry.
It could be.
Well, the left back in a central position in the box puts it in the bottom right hand corner. Sorry, no.
Well, him to get forward.
And the second goal, Gervinho. Gervinho scoring is never in the plan.
You never count on that one.
No, you don't. So
With an assist from Aaron Ramsey.
yeah. So no, it's a good win for Arsenal. Funny enough, I think they're a point behind Spurs now.
I think so, yeah.
Who saw that coming after the
2 weeks ago?
yeah?
Nobody.
So really, it's good. It's a bonus win for Arsenal. I didn't even see them really. I thought that game would have been closer or more of a draw, maybe. Good win for them. So
I thought Cazorla and Giroud looked very tired. Walcott was putting balls in the box. The two of them were
Giroud was
just kind of
yawning.
He was just walking in, going, "Oh no!"
I just played in Munich. It was an awful pitch. Yeah. No. Well, they don't have a deep squad, Arsenal, so they've probably played a lot of. They've probably played a high number of big games and each and things like that. So I don't know. It's getting to that point in the season.
Man United 1, Reading 0. Reading had 5 in midfield, so there was no strikers, just Hunt. So Rio was able to just walk out of the back with the ball, run up to Rio or to Rooney, who just kind of stuck it in the net.
Yeah, desperate game though.
Yeah,
it was a pretty poor game. Van Persie didn't even really look. See, the thing about Robin Van Persie is he's been playing all kind of. Everyone was saying his injury record was quite good over the last couple of years, which means that he's played a lot of games.
Yeah.
Then he played all the way through the Euros.
Yeah.
And had an explosive start to the season. And you're probably seeing
the result for the first time in his career, where he hasn't had 2 months off with an ankle injury.
The result, you've probably seen the results of that. Whereas Rooney's kind of turned. He kind of had a bad stretch there a few weeks ago.
He's been dropped a few times.
And now he's kind of got a couple of goals in the last few games. Obviously, big deflection. I don't know if it was going in or if it wasn't going in before that. But it was just about enough to kind of beat a poor enough looking team.
I mean, there was no real threat from Reading. The guy didn't make any saves. There's still, just a one deflected goal and a very poor team with no manager. And they should have had a penalty from when Vidic just blatantly pushed.
Yeah.
Was it Lafondra?
No, Lafondra came on. I think it was before that.
But anyway, they just, it didn't really,
I think this year what you're seeing here is that Ferguson's team talk was, all right, City have lost. We can go 15 points ahead. And the person, do
we even need to?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So they're 15 points ahead now. Don't expect a brilliant performance in the next game against Sunderland.
Is this the rest of the season is just going to be United?
Well, I think the next game is Sunderland away on a Saturday morning. That game after that is the Monday against Chelsea in the FA Cup. So you're probably going to see a very chopped United team going against Sunderland, and you see that reflected in the performance. I think the cup now has to be the priority to actually get through that because the league is pretty much sewn up now at this stage.
Yeah. Beat Man City and it's over.
Well, if City lose to Newcastle,
yep,
and United beat City, that'll be 21 points and a superior goal difference with 7 games to go. So even then it wouldn't be over technically, but it's not impossible for City to come back, but they just don't look inspiring at all. I think they've probably given up on it as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I think it would be an awful pity for United's season to kind of, if they lost to Chelsea in the cup final and you've kind of got 6 or 7 games then left with absolutely nothing to play for.
Yeah. Although you get the young lads in then, you get to see.
But they don't, it'll be at the stage where they need 10 games. They play 5 or 6. They don't even get the medal, that kind of way.
Yeah, I know. It's still just some experience for them, see what they can do.
Yeah. I don't know. I think from a supporter's point of view, you'd rather have something to play for.
Yeah,
right to the end of the season.
I'd rather have it wrapped up personally.
Well, it's not bad to get the league. Don't get me wrong. We all want to win the league, but if you win it with 5 games to go, you want what's the point then in those 5 games? You want to see a bit of excitement. Not that I have a problem seeing the young players playing, but you don't really get the sense that you want kind of cup final to play towards.
Speaking of a lack of excitement, the Sunday games, Sunderland 1, Norwich 1. Sunderland have loads of centre midfielders and none of them seem to be any use.
Well, nobody at Sunderland really seems. Another game for Danny Graham. He didn't score.
Yeah. I mean, Fletcher's a great player.
But he's kind of started well, but hasn't done much in the last few weeks, though.
Yeah.
What did you think of the red card?
Definite red card.
They're not going to catch him chest more.
No. I think he put his arms in a position where he was likely to make contact with the ball.
Okay. I thought the penalty wasn't a penalty, though.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well. It seemed to skid off his chest. There was nothing he could do about it.
Like, the way the ball was kind of bouncing and angled away from him, if he lets it go, he gets a shouting at from his manager and puts his team in trouble. He kind of has to lean towards it to.
But he just leaned. He
leaned
towards his arm at it. He threw his chest at it.
That's what he was trying. That's what I mean. He leaned to try and get his chest. He probably just didn't lean far enough, or missed the trajectory of the ball and it hit him. Yeah, and I thought it was a soft penalty.
So did I. Tottenham 0, Fulham 1, and FFS Tottenham as being young there. You can't lose to Fulham at home.
Is this just what? Forget, Martin Yall. Forget Harry Redknapp. Forget AVB. Tottenham just bottle it at the end when they're trying to get the fourth place. It gets handed to them on a platter, and they bottle it.
But are Spurs lacking depth out wide? Because when if they have Bale playing through the middle, and they have Lennon out, then they've no other wingers.
Yeah.
I mean, the solution there to me, play Bale out wide, but they seem to go with Asu Okada.
Well, it's not only wingers that they have lack of depth, it's strikers as well. They have terrible lack of depth. With only really Adebayor and Defoe. Yeah. You're kind of playing Clint Dempsey as a striker as well.
Yeah, you could play Clint Dempsey. I'd rather have Clint Dempsey as a number 10 than a winger.
Yeah. I just kind of feel, well, they did play on a Thursday against Tottenham, or against Inter, and it went to extra time, which it never should have done. So that maybe affected them, but if they miss out by a point or two on Champions League football for losing at home to Fulham, who have nothing to play for, you really have to be kicking yourself.
And if you had to, Adebayor or Berbatov, not if you had to in the usual way when you say if you had to, if you had to have a striker.
That's a kind of difficult one because Berbatov has had a quite good season, all things considered. Yeah. Whereas Adebayor hasn't. But if you're saying top form for both, I take Adebayor. Yeah. Are you saying just this season?
I don't know what I'm saying.
If you're saying just this season, you probably have to take Berbatov.
Right now, one of them's coming to your club. You're not living on past glories. Who do you think you're going to get the best out of?
Berbatov, because Adebayor seems to have just a bad attitude this season or something like that. So you don't want somebody like that around your club.
He seems to be kind of acting out because his whole dream hasn't worked out.
What was his dream?
To win the league with Man City. Maybe not particularly with Man City, but to go from, I'm at the big dogs, and then on loan to Real Madrid, and then...
Real Madrid didn't want to sign him.
Yeah, and then on loan to Spurs, and then permanently to Spurs. And then I can't get in the Spurs team because Jermaine Defoe is ahead of me.
But he even did quite well at Real Madrid when he was on loan there.
He did great at Real Madrid.
Maybe he just needs to be on loan. That's my theory.
Yeah. It's always been his best.
Yeah, when he's on loan. Don't buy him, just loan him.
Chelsea 2, West Ham 0. I'm impressed with how Benitez is handling the Terry thing, although Lampard went over and celebrated with the which just kind of undermined everything.
With the what, John? With the... Andy Burns a what?
Yeah, so we'll be cutting that. Or beeping it anyway.
Yeah, so Benitez has effectively said, right, you're my third choice centre-half. Yeah. Pity it's not going to be definitive. Because he's gone in the summer, and when the new manager comes in, John Terry's going to kind of bring him over to a corner and say, I'll tell you how things work around here. And so Frank Lampard and John Terry will start every game.
Yeah, if Lampard is still there.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he wasn't, though. I've swayed back and forth on this, but that would just be stupid if he wasn't there. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, if he didn't do things like that, if he didn't go over and deliberately undermine the manager by celebrating with Frank Lampard or with John Terry, then I'd offer him a contract.
Friends, though.
I know, but I'd just like to go out of his way to go over to John Terry and be like, "Oh, you're dropped. Come here and give me a hug. I know how that feels." This guy, this guy over here with the glasses and the suit,
Yeah, I don't know. I think they have to keep him, or else West Ham can take it back.
Yeah,
stop throwing coins at him, idiots.
again, you know when you know some players don't celebrate in front of their old fans.
Yeah.
Lampard didn't have that kind of class.
They
Although they did
the
sack his,
abuse, the
they did
abuse
sack his dad.
the abuse that they fired him. We've discussed the song on this on this show
I
before.
forgot the song.
Do you remember the song?
It was about his kids and how disappointed they are.
Yeah. So no, like why not?
What about Eden Hazard though? He was top class.
Yeah, it's good for them because he kind of started well, went
down,
and it's kind of picking it back up a bit.
Yeah.
Good finish on the second goal as well. I like those because he's like, will I shoot? No. Will I shoot? No. Will I shoot? Yes. And then by that time he was in the centre and
there
made
was
it go.
nutmegs and rabonas and all sorts. That's what you pay for.
Yes.
When you go to a game of football, to see someone do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. No, he's worked out well for them.
West Ham made it easy though. There was no energy about their play. I felt no closing down, no pressing. It was just kind of we just get to the box and let them.
Yeah, it's a pity that game isn't more of a derby game.
Yeah.
Although they did.
There's a lot of teams.
They did bash them, didn't they? West Ham beat Chelsea in the home match. I think that was one of Benitez's first matches.
Yeah.
I think it was like 3 or 4-1. And nobody leave that in the comments because we're just being lazy.
Yeah. And we've moved on. Wigan 2, Newcastle 1. The big one. Losing two full backs in 30 minutes would kind of kill anybody, and it should have been a red card.
Yeah, can I just say, how exactly was that not a red card?
Well, this is the point I don't want to drag up them anything again.
Yeah, but this is what I was going to drag up again.
I was like, he clearly wasn't. He was only focusing on the ball. Just
you're talking about the
McManaman.
Yeah,
just like he's a young lad, full of adrenaline, just getting to that ball, got to the ball, and then he realised there was another person there.
So you kind of think it's just a lack of experience?
I think he just kind of had the blinkers on and he was just a rush of blood to the head.
But when I look at it, I think a ball is kind of hopped like 20 inches in the air.
Yep. It was a good 3 feet up.
Yeah. So if he puts his foot up for that,
yep,
straight away it's kind of dangerous level to put your foot up.
Yep.
Studs are shown.
Yep.
So regardless
above knee height,
if there's a player there or not a player there, you're taking a risk doing something like that.
Yeah. So
it has to be a red card then? Whether he has the blinkers on.
Yeah, I don't
think intent doesn't come into it.
Intent doesn't. This is all red card stuff.
Yeah, so how exactly? Like if Nani can get sent off, can this
Does he not get sent off?
It's the same rule
the
book.
linesman was looking straight at it. I mean, the referee didn't see it apparently, and it all happened very quickly.
But to me, that's far more serious because I don't think we know what the Newcastle player's injury is.
Ligament injuries is what I've heard. Knee ligaments. He couldn't straighten his knee at half time.
They couldn't scan him because he was in too much pain as well.
25 minutes later,
so
it's a bad one.
No, it's a bad one. But to me, that's far more serious because you do kind of need to take in. Arbeloa wasn't hurting than anyone. Yeah. Nani didn't try and hurt him.
Well, anyway, he did go off a few minutes later.
Arbeloa?
Yeah.
But that was more of a kind of, let's win this tie.
Could also be he's just been kicked in the hip.
It's not in the same category.
Yeah,
as
it's not a serious injury.
Yeah, it's not in the same category as the Newcastle one. So, how on earth is that? Where's the common sense in that line?
I know.
They're working off the same rule book.
And you've seen Dave Whelan recently. It came out today. McManaman will face no further.
Because I don't think it was the referee, but I think it was one of his officials said they saw it.
Yeah.
So then they need to be seriously reprimanded for that.
Yeah. You should lose.
In my book, they should.
The ref should be bumped, or whoever it is should be bumped down.
Yeah. I said it at the Turkish referee at the time. I didn't think he should referee the Champions League again this season because Man United won't play in the Champions League again this season. That was my opinion on that particular incident, and I think something similar should happen. Maybe not. Maybe it's a bit harsh to say for the rest of the season, but I think you get maybe a 3 or 4 or 5 match ban for that kind of a tackle. So maybe that's what you get. And
I don't think he's ever going to make a tackle like that again. But I think you've got to have a deterrent to other players for them if they're not going to realise themselves that you could.
Well, that's what they call experience. Like, how are you supposed to learn from something if you get away with it like that? So
yeah. No, well, I don't think. It just doesn't seem like that kind of player anyway. He seemed pretty shook up about it himself.
And the whole Dave Whelan thing, that doesn't really bother me. Like that's
annoying the crap out of me.
But it's a chairman standing up for his player. Like when do you ever see a chairman going out?
Well,
aside from the really
interview, he doesn't need to come out.
I know, but Dave Whelan always wants to be the kind of accessible kind of guy that he kind of has this whole persona to keep up. It's like Dave Whelan is asked about everything.
Yeah.
Whenever there's an incident in football, Dave Whelan is asked about on Sky Sports News. So it didn't surprise me that he came out and said something. That doesn't bother me because he's standing up for his own player. Like if it was the other way around, Pardew would stand up for his player, and he should.
Or Ashley wouldn't get involved though.
Yeah, but Ashley and Whelan are. Dave Whelan's a football man. Like Ashley isn't a football man, in the same sense. Like.
Meh. Anyway.
Plus, Mike Ashley doesn't come out about anything really.
Yeah, that's kind of. Anyway, getting back to the game. Herdera had only been on a few minutes because he came on for the injured Debussy. And he wasn't really up to speed. McManaman got the better of him, put the cross in. Santon was a bit out of sorts because he was on the wrong wing.
Mm-hmm.
And they conceded a goal like that.
Yeah.
And Santon scored. And then the second goal was 2 handballs.
2 handballs, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not your day. Like, Pardew at the end of the match was seething with rage.
Yeah.
So it's not your day, but Newcastle didn't deserve to lose that game, I didn't think. Over the whole course of the 90 minutes. Unlucky at the end as well.
I mean,
just poor officiating.
Yeah, you can do that again, but Colaccini should have been sent off. I remember earlier in the season he failed Luis Suarez.
Yeah, in Anfield.
Yeah, and what was the other one? The handballs, Demba Ba against Reading. Controlled it with his hand and then scored. So, yeah. I mean, we can't. What goes around comes around. So you just kind of have to accept it, but we were the better team.
I'd love if there was a table of, like, just to show that, don't worry, like, if you get a bad decision, you owed a bad decision.
Yeah.
Or, like, you're owed 2 good decisions.
So the refs could watch it as well, go, he's probably lean with them as well.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's a 50-50,
give it to them, yeah. I wish there was something like that, but I think when they say it all evens out, you're probably talking about the course of 10 years because, I think some teams are more wrong done than others over a course of any given season.
Some get a bit luckier, Mark.
Well, if you're talking about United, you also have to factor in the fact that we have the ball in the attacking half.
Yeah. More box entries, if you will.
Yeah, if you're wondering why United get more penalties than Reading, because Man United attack. So
they don't. United rarely go with Noel Hunt up front on his own.
Yes, very rarely.
Okay, well, we've called that the end of part 1, and we'll be back with you to talk about internationals in a moment. Hello and welcome back to Backpage Pass. Now we're going to talk about some international games. We're going to get onto Ireland very quickly, but I just briefly want to talk about England and what you make of the whole Rio Ferdinand affair.
There's a whole school of ways to think about this. I do think Rio Ferdinand will play for England again.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very easy to jump the gun and say, oh, he's pulled out, so that means he'll never play again.
Yeah.
I think he's probably looked at it and said, because there's no doubt that he has his fitness regime, and that's what keeps him going. Like, he's 34 with terrible back problems, which cause Drevel, hamstring, groin, problems everywhere else. He's looking at it and saying, I don't have a Man United contract past the summer, so I need to get that sorted first. They literally do plan weeks in ahead of what he does. So
it's been like that for 2 years.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense. Now you look at the Euros and go, he could have gone to the Euros, and then if they'd brought him to the Euros, we could say, right, I'll retire now. Well,
there's the whole John Terry thing.
Yeah.
If I was him around that John Terry thing, alright, he's picked John Terry over me for footballing reasons, fair enough. I've had a good run with England, as good as anybody else. I'll retire. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Because why does he need that grief? But fair enough to him, he said, I want to play for my country, never retired. So you can't question that he does want to play for them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have retired. But then the flip side of that is that he wants the kind of pressure to be on Hodgson, and Hodgson's kind of called his bluff now by actually including him in the squad. But Ferdinand's looked at these 2 games thinking, San Marino, do I really need to play in that game? And then if Hodgson doesn't play him in that game, he's undermining the centre half that he does pick playing that, because they've no hope. Well, one of them has no hope of playing against Montenegro on the big one.
Yeah.
So
Montenegro being the big one.
Well, that's their other Montenegro away. I think that's the other big team in that group.
Yeah, well,
Big. Well, the other
big in inverted commas.
main seed, I think.
Yeah.
So I think like you can't pick anybody out special to be more special than anybody else, but he probably does need to.
John Terry did, and that was the nub of the problem.
But you know what I mean, that you can't tell him he's going to be in the squad weeks in advance.
Yeah.
But Ferdinand, I think from now on will kind of presume that he is going to be in the squad.
Yep.
I'd say that's what happened.
But the fitness regime will just have to include potential England matches.
Yes. But I'd say that's what happened in his conversation with Roy Hodgson. He said, "Well, I kind of need to know certain things, so I can." Because he wouldn't have been right to play in it. But England's fixtures, they have Ireland in May, and they have Brazil in Rio in the summer, and then they're back kind of like everybody else. So I'd say you won't see him playing in the Ireland match or the Brazil match, but you probably could see him at the start of next season playing.
What do you think of Stephen Taylor getting called away as a replacement?
Well, you're laughing, but the problem is, it just shows how A, decimated they are centre half wise with injuries and things, but B, that's just where English football is going. They don't have anything.
Ashley Williams, Shawcross.
Yeah, I'd have had Shawcross in my panel a long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I think it's because he's not actually known as a passer of the ball.
Don't care. Either Stephen Taylor.
Yeah, but Stephen Taylor gets in because he's older, probably.
Yeah. Still having Shawcross.
I'd have Shawcross in there as well. I'm surprised no bigger club has actually bought Shawcross, like an Arsenal or something like that.
Yeah. Again, no, he can't pass well enough to play for Arsenal. But
the point being, Arsenal aren't going anywhere doing things the way they're doing them. Yeah. So, like, he could be a very top centre half, I think. But anyway, I don't think that England have an awful lot. Cocker is a good one.
Cocker is injured.
He got called up from the 21s.
Did he? Sorry. No, Cocker's in the squad, yeah. He only has one cap.
Yeah, that was the Sweden game.
Yeah, Ashley Williams, this is what I don't get.
Yeah.
From Swansea, I think he's a great centre half.
Well, I don't know what they're thinking, but I think in general they don't have much to choose from.
Yeah.
Plus, Taylor does have previous England experience.
Under 21s only.
Is it?
No full caps. He's been in squads, but without playing.
I wonder, does that count if you've been in previous squads? You're ahead of
I would hope it doesn't.
I don't know if it does. But
I'd say even the likes of Roger Johnson or Scott Dan, I'd look down to the championship before I'd go with Stephen Taylor.
Scott Dan, I don't know about him.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on to Ireland. And we'll just look at the Ireland squad real quick. The goalkeepers. What happened to Shay Given coming back?
That was just awkward.
I thought that was
Shay Given was like, "Hey everybody, I'm willing to play," and Travis was like, "Oh, yeah."
Do you remember you lied during the summer about how fit you were?
Yeah. And also, you're not playing for your club, so David Ford he's going to Wembley, unlike you, Shay Given. So
looks like Ford is going to start. Westwood is slipped out of the first choice. You were saying earlier.
I'd have picked Westwood because he actually, apart from the Germany game where we got destroyed, but that wasn't really his fault.
Yeah, he's always played well.
I thought he's done quite well for Ireland. So,
but I think Ford hasn't had a chance, and Ford is first choice.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think he found something that was working okay. Maybe he's blamed Westwood for the defeat against Germany.
No, he can't do that.
But he didn't play after that, though, I don't think.
I know, but a lot of players have played since then. He did play in that game.
That's what I mean, so maybe he's blaming Westwood.
No.
I don't know. Anyway, I'd have kept with him. As for bringing Given back, I would have thought about it. I'd brought him into a squad and see how it got on, but I think you do have to move on. But I'm sure he has something to offer in terms of experience and things like
that. The defenders, John O'Shea, I'd say is still useful. St. Ledger, capable of a great performance, but not a top class defender. Kieran Clark, learning from his mistakes at Villa, but he's making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Mark Wilson, only real option at left back, coming back from an injury. Seamus Coleman, I'm just giving up if he doesn't start.
You have to start him on the right after the City game.
Yeah, it was
unless there's personal problems between them, you have to start him on the right.
He had that header as well as defending. He's improved his defending as well.
Yeah, the header
was
incredible.
Forward.
Yeah. Well, what they're screaming out for is Richard feckin' Dunn
to come back. Yeah,
to come back. It's talking about England not having options defensively. and they're very, very limited.
Yeah, well, our last two in the squad are Stephen Kelly, who's never really been good enough, and Darren O'Dea, who really disappointed me with how he didn't turn into a great player.
And also playing with Toronto, isn't it?
Yeah, when he was at Celtic, he was scoring in the Champions League, and you're like, oh, we've got a player here.
Yeah, no, we don't.
Just didn't have him.
Is McShane in the squad?
Shane is injured. He was in the original extended squad.
Yeah. Well, you got to start, I think, with Coleman. I think, I don't know if Wilson's fit enough, so you put John O'Shea to left back.
Sweden. Do they have any wingers?
Larson.
Larson will probably be playing on the right.
Yeah. He's not going to run at you, though, is he?
Yeah, but you need somebody to do push out to him.
Yeah. And then if you put O'Shea to left back, or would you put Kelly to left back?
You could put Kelly to left back.
Yeah, so O'Shea then, and I think Clark will play.
Yeah.
You think St. Ledger, but I think Clark. So you're going to go through the midfield?
Yeah, midfield, Glenn Whelan, probably going to start. James McCarthy, God, I hope he starts. Paul Green, little unfair of him that he's considered a joke, but still wouldn't start him.
Well, in the game against Poland the last day, the game changed when he came on, and I don't mean that in any kind of funny way. He did very well when he came in, and we were getting bashed in that possession-wise and chances-wise. I think we were still winning, but he came on and he did make a difference, so it wouldn't disappoint me. I think you have to give him a chance, but
not in this game.
I wouldn't give him a chance. I wouldn't give him a chance in a 4-4-2. I think maybe in a 3 in midfield if you're playing him. You remember when he came on in the Euros and everyone's like, "Oh Christ!"
God. Yeah.
But
well, it's because he came on ahead of Gibson, and we all saw where it was going.
Like if we played Gibson and McCarthy,
they can pass and they can defend.
As a centre midfield, that's a decent centre midfield.
Yeah.
So it's a pity that Gibson has fallen out with Trapp.
Jeff Hendrick, he played well in the friendly as well when he came on, but you still can't convince me he's better than Moyler.
Well, I'm not going to try.
Well, don't. James McLean, almost definite starter, which is a worry considering his club form. He's been dropped.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't start James McLean. I'd barely have him on the bench. So he's just, if you kind of know that he's not going to do anything, why have him there? So
yeah.
I wouldn't start Cox either, mind you. Is McGeady in the squad?
McGeady's injured as well.
It's
not bad if you're saying you want McGeady to start.
Yeah, I was just wondering what my options were after making a sweeping statement about James McLean. Well, Pilkington and Houlihan. Pilkington's injured.
Yeah.
But Houlihan got a goal there at the weekend.
Yeah.
So
he scored in the last penalty.
So I give him a go. And even if Walters isn't too bad, you could play him as on the wing as well.
We still have Robbie Brady, who I love, but I'm not sure I'd start him.
No, he's too young. Like in the Poland game, he was kind of left out of it.
And who else? Andy Kell came into the squad, who wasn't in the initial 29-man squad, but with
did score against Germany.
Yeah, with Pilkington and McGeady out through injury, kind of makes sense to have him in the squad.
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah, well, I think McLean probably will start, but Kyo, I tell you, will come on. Trapp does like him.
He does. Well, he didn't have him in the 29, which is confusing.
Yeah, but then now that he has him around, like, you know, that kind of way, he'll remember why he likes him so much.
And then forwards, we have Robbie Keane. Can he still do it?
No, but that doesn't mean he's not going to try. Did you see the buses in Los Angeles with Robbie Keane on the back of them?
Really?
Yeah, he's replaced Beckham as
he's the new poster boy.
Yeah.
Ah, good for Robbie.
It was his dream as a
young lad growing up in Tallaght.
Be on the back of LA buses.
Shane Long, not exactly banging them in at the moment.
No, but I think Trapp and Long have a bad relationship.
Yeah, they used to be so friendly. Do you remember one time they were at a training thing and Trapp just got sick of answering questions, so he just pulled Shane Long around the way. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Walked off.
Yeah, I would definitely start Long though. I think he just can stretch defences and things like that. We don't really have a pacey option apart from him. So from now on, I'd only really use Robbie Keane as a kind of experienced striker to come on. I wouldn't start him. Doyle, I don't understand I cannot understand why he's not in the squad. He works so hard when he plays. He's no problem running the channels. He's caused like the French defence big trouble, the Italian defence big problems as well. So I'd had him starting.
Not so much him not getting in the squad. Him not getting in the squad and Connor Salmon getting into the squad.
If Connor Salmon starts, that is just going to be so disappointing.
That's just.
But
Again,
he probably will start.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like Trap was saying, maybe again, and then we have Walters, who we've said could probably play on the right.
Yeah, but I think if he's not injured, I don't know how it's. It wouldn't be surprising me if he did play 5 in midfield though and just leave Long up on his own.
Yeah.
Or even Salmon up on his own. Like.
Yeah. So then we've Cox again playing the right. Let's just go, and then there's a standby list as well. Let's just run through that as well. Joey O'Brien.
Decent shout to have him in the squad.
If Wilson can play left back, I'd have Joey O'Brien left back. Alex Pearce, not great. Stephen Ward again, better than Kelly. Play left back.
Stephen Ward, desperate run of form that through the Euros.
Yeah,
atrocious Euros, and I kind of lost complete confidence in him. I think Trapp did as well.
Yeah, but, you gotta give him another chance. Ahead of Stephen Kelly.
I don't know. What has Stephen Kelly done that was so bad at Ward?
Nothing, but he's never done anything for us, I don't think. It's been goals he's given away where they've been less important matches.
Yeah, and Stephen Ward has scored for our games we were at.
Yeah.
What was it? The Estonia match, wasn't he scoring?
Good lad.
Yeah.
Stephen Henderson of West Ham. And you've got Elliot at Newcastle playing first class, or first team football.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Is there only first, Irish eligible? Well, besides Bunn, maybe. You have 2 players in the Premier League playing. They're second choice for the club, but they're playing in the Premier League, as opposed to this guy who's. Is he third choice?
Who do you mean?
Stephen Henderson.
Stephen Henderson. Yeah, I think he's third choice.
I don't think I've ever seen him play. I'm
no.
a bit bewildered. Mailer has Hull second in the Championship.
Oh, give me a break. Has them there.
Well, he's playing in a team that's there.
Screw you, Steve Bruce.
And then Doyle, as I said, 6 goals. Just 6 goals this season, 34 appearances.
Kevin Doyle.
Yeah. There's more to his game than goals, though.
He was never a great goal scorer. His first season with Reading in the Premier League, he did quite well, but that's not really his game. He kind of plays alongside the goal scorer and does a lot of the leg work for them. I hope he goes to Celtic. I really do. I think that's more of a club level for him. He could play Champions League.
Yeah.
And I could see him scoring goals there.
He can play big games. He doesn't belong in a league.
So I do hope he goes there, and I think that will benefit Ireland as well.
So what's your team?
How would I start, or how will Trapp start?
How would you start?
I would start Westwood in goal. Coleman, I have never really. I think I play him right back. I like to see him at right mid though. Yeah,
I always thought he would end up that way, but he's gotten so good at being a right back now.
Yeah,
I'm happy right back.
I would play Coleman right back, O'Shea, and I think may as well go with Clark because he's playing Premier League. Can I pick people that aren't in the squad?
Well, who would you pick?
I would
people who are injured.
I would have put Joey O'Brien in because I think he's got caps before, and also he's having a pretty good season. So that would be my back 5. Central midfield, I'd as I said before, I'd have Gibson and Carty.
Yep.
Right hand side. No, this is where it gets difficult. On my wings, I don't know. I'm really reluctant to put McLean there. He just hasn't done anything, so I'm not going to put him there. I'll put Houlihan on the right.
Yep.
And on the left, I will put Walters, and they can kind of switch wings during the match.
They're not really wingers, though, are they?
They're not, but I think
Walters on the left as well. Houlihan's played on the left for.
I know, but I think you can switch them around a bit.
Okay.
Because as you said, they're not really wingers. But I have very little faith in my wing options. Even Cox, I think, has been pretty poor. And then I don't know. I play Long up front, all right. Kind of struggling after that though.
You can't even fill an 11 with players in a fantasy 11.
No, like if I can't even fill an 11. Well, I'd have Doyle obviously, but I forgot that I can't pick the non-squad players. So yeah, that would be my team. How about you?
Well, you already picked Joey O'Brien.
Yeah, no, I forgot that as I was thinking of my second striker. How about you, John? Who would you start?
Oh, with the squad we have, I'd probably go with Ford. I wouldn't be too pushed.
Just because he's Sunderland.
Yeah.
You pick Millwall ahead of Sunderland.
No. Kieran Westwood is a good keeper, but he just doesn't seem to be too bothered himself about move. He could have pushed for a move at any stage, but he's just gone. And he was number 3 choice at Sunderland at one stage, and he was like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, then Coleman, Wilson, fullbacks. I'd go O'Shea and St. Ledger. O'Shea isn't even... I'd go with St. Ledger ahead of O'Shea as well if you were going down to... If you're starting Kieran Clark. Then I'd expect them to have Whelan and McCarthy in midfield. I'd probably go with that myself, with Wes Hewland in front of them.
Even ahead of Darren Gibson?
No, I'd have Gibson if I could have Gibson.
Yeah. You're just going through the squad?
Yeah. I'd say probably Walters on the right. Yeah, McLean on the left. I don't want to. And
would you play McLean or Brady?
I'd start McLean and bring on Brady.
Yeah.
Because I've seen McLean come off the bench and do nothing. Whereas I expect Brady, if you get him fired up, he'd come on and do something. He came off the bench. Who did he come off the bench against? Was it Pharaohs? Or did he start against Pharaohs? Started against Pharaohs, came off at half time. Came off the bench against somebody and did well. And then, Shane Long up front on his own.
Yes. No, it's fair.
I just kissed the mic. That was me kissing you, listeners.
It's hard to kind of... I'd say it's hard to pick the team, but at the same time, when Trapp goes, if you've got the right manager in, there's
a good base there.
There's a base there you could do something with.
Yeah. Like we were saying, Wes and Gibson and McCarthy.
Like this tournament does, or this qualification does really depend on these next 2 games. If we lose to Sweden, we're 6 points behind.
Yeah.
Difficult to come back from that. Draw and beat Austria at home, which I think we will beat Austria at home. Then we have Sweden to play at home, so you have a decent chance.
If you look at the Sweden team after Zlatan, it was world class. They just, Larsson, Olsen, Karlstrom, Elmander, they're not really world beaters. We could get a result there.
The best team is going to win. That's what it's not going to come down to really world beating performances.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'd worry more about the Austria game because they don't have that big star and they are more of a team.
Yeah, no, but we're at home for that one, so I do fancy us to win that. Plus, Sweden, I think, are not the best on set pieces, so I do think we can get something there. But they did draw with Germany, so
it's a worry.
They
did come, but that was just a wonder show from Zlatan, who could have an off day.
Yeah, it's -10 in Sweden apparently at the moment, so I don't fancy the Irish players. I would be surprised if we got a result. Not to be too negative and defeatist about it, but I think it's a big ask to go there and get a result.
I think we've a good chance there. I think we end up coming away with 2 draws. I wouldn't consider it the worst weekend of football.
No, I think we need to beat Austria. You have to win your home games. I think Austria are definitely beatable too.
I think Austria are going to capitulate, but I don't think it'll be against us.
Well, I've said what I think, and you said what you think.
And I don't know where I got that opinion from. It just fell out of my head.
Who would you like to replace Trapp as manager if it was happening today? Houghton from Norwich.
If we could get him, I'd try and seduce him. I know you want McDermott.
I don't necessarily want McDermott. I just know McDermott wants the job.
Who would you go with? Well, like Roy Keane isn't an option.
No, like realistic. Otherwise, God. So I don't know.
Maradona.
You bring in the crowds, all right.
Yeah. Get McLean playing as a fullback.
I actually wouldn't mind. This is going to kind of laughed at, but I actually wouldn't mind giving someone like David Leary a go. Irish legend.
It's too long out of it.
I know, but well, that's what I said about Keegan when he went back to Newcastle.
Yeah, how did that work out?
Well, he was unfairly
dismissed.
Yeah.
Or what was it?
Oh, well, there was an argument that he was promised money and it wasn't delivered on.
Or given to somebody else on his behalf.
I always kind of rated giving David Leary a go. I think he'd make it go of it. Like, if he gave him one campaign, he'd go with the young lads, which we know from Leeds.
I would have done it 5 years ago, but I don't think I'd do it now. He did have that. Did he not have a spell out over in the Middle East and it went horribly wrong?
Yeah, but everybody goes horribly wrong in the Middle East. It's the Middle East, for Christ's sake. Everybody think, oh, I'm getting loads of money. But then you walk out and there's nobody at the match and the standard of player is atrocious. Like, what are you supposed to do?
I don't know.
No, I think I'd give him a go, but that's just off the top of my head.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot left then after that, is it?
Liam Brady, would you give Brady a go?
I don't think he'd want to.
I
wouldn't know after his time at Celtic either, I don't think.
Yeah. Anyway.
So
Pat Dolan. How did I not? Oh, sorry, Pat. Sorry.
I'd give it to his twin brother, Eamon. I'd have the two of them as joint managers.
Yeah. That wouldn't be stupid.
Do you think they ever did a sister tile switcheroo?
Yeah, Pat will be there for next week's game with Norwich or Reading.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it there. Like our face, no, follow, wait, subscribe to our face. No,
like our Facebook page,
subscribe to
our
YouTube.
YouTube,
Yes.
and yeah.
Yep. Goodbye. Oh, yeah, and we may not be back next week because it's international, so we'll figure it out next week. Bye bye.
I know I've stuck in my head all day today.
What?
You know the song? You ever watch The English Office?
Yeah.
You know the song Free Love Freeway?
Hot love on the hot love highway. The love is the Got some free love on the free love freeway.
That's the word. That's a real good song.